Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. You're probably watching this video because you need some help finding a brand name along with a matching domain name. Well, I think I can help. Earlier today, I saw a post on SPI's Academy community where someone was asking for help on branding. So I decided to create this video since I've done branding for decades. If you don't know what SPI is, I'll explain further at the end of the video. We'll do this in 3 steps: the type of brand names, how to come up with names, and how to find the domain names, preferably at registration fee. Let's get started. Brand names are a crucial aspect of a company's identity, serving as a direct reflection of its values, products, and services. They come in various forms, each with its unique characteristics and implications. Understanding these types can help businesses such as yours craft a name that aligns with their brand identity and appeals to their target audience. Here are the primary types of brand names. Acronyms. These are abbreviations formed from the initial letters of words in a phrase, making the brand name shorter and easier to remember. Examples include IBM, NASA, BMW, and PRS. Acronyms are beneficial for simplifying long or complex names. Descriptive names directly describe the product or service, clearly conveying what the company offers. Brands like General Motors and Whole Foods fall into this category, offering clarity but potentially limiting future diversification. Made-up, coined names or neologisms. Entirely invented names that carry no meaning until associated with the brand, such as Kodak, Xerox, and Pixar, as well as my own brand names, Merlix and Bazillions. These names can be highly distinctive and easier to trademark, although they may require significant marketing to build brand association. Evocative names. Designed to evoke certain feelings or associations, these names reflect the brand's essence or values rather than describe the products or services directly. Apple and Amazon are examples, suggesting simplicity and vastness respectively, and helping build a strong emotional connection with the brand. Geographical names incorporate the location tied to the brand, emphasizing origin, heritage, or area of operation. While British Airways and American Express highlight their roots and authenticity, such names might limit brand expansion outside the initial region. Founder names utilize the names of founders or notable individuals, leveraging their reputation and legacy. Examples include Ford, Disney, and Dell, which carry the personal history and values of their namesakes, but may vary in appeal based on the individual's recognition. Personal brands. These simply use your name or nickname. Examples are Martha Stewart, Mr. Beast, Dr. Oz, The Rock, and Oprah. Easy enough. Fictional figurehead brand names. These are names that are a person's name, but the person doesn't actually exist. Examples are Betty Crocker, Haagen-Dazs, and Juan Valdez. Mythical and Latin brand names. Greek mythology, including the gods and goddesses, as well as Latin words, can create a memorable brand name that the customer feels like they've heard of before. Examples include Nike, Nivea, and Hermes. Even Sony used a mix of the Latin word sonus, meaning sound, and sunny, which was common in the mid-20th century to refer to young boys. And technically, my Merlix name could even be classified here, since it is derived from Merlin, the wizard in King Arthur, with the N swapped out for an X. Compound names. Combine 2 or more words to create a new brand identity. Facebook, Snapchat, and Microsoft are compound names that succinctly convey multiple aspects of the brand's identity or offerings. Abstract names. These names do not have an inherent meaning related to the product or service, but are unique and memorable and can be similar to made-up names. Spotify and Oculus are examples offering flexibility for brand evolution and a high degree of trademarkability. Over the past 30 years, I've been involved in more than 30 startups and have successfully sold those, minus the ones I'm currently incubating. If you think you might want to sell your brand one day, it's best to not use a personal brand. And I would even sway away from a founder name, because unless you get really large like a Dell or Ben & Jerry's, it's going to make it harder to sell. As you can see, selecting the right type of brand is a strategic decision not to be taken lightly, and you have to consider where you want to be now, a year from now, 5 years from now, and 20 years from now. For me, Bazillions is a brand that I can sell off 5 or 10 years from now. So we've established the types. Let's move on to some methods for coming up with ideas. There are several sites that have name generators. Let's explore some of these. We're going to ultimately be checking to see if we can get a matching domain name for any of these. After all, what's a brand name without a matching domain in the 21st century? You're going to want to open up Notepad if you're on Windows, or Notes if you're on a Mac, or you can open up something like Word or Pages. Now, this being said, I recommend you downloading Notepad++ if you're on Windows, because I will be showing you how to copy and paste and clean this up quickly. It's a free application and has been around for years and is reputable. They even have a portable version which simply lets you unzip it into a folder and run it without installing it on your computer. I did a Google search for brand idea generator to get some of these. So let's assume that you're a diamond engagement ring company. First up is looka.com, and I have to be honest, I'm not impressed. Now that doesn't mean that you don't give these a try though, because you never know when you're going to get that one really good name suggestion out of 100, 1,000, or even 100,000, and it could happen from one of these not so great websites. I type my keywords and I get names that have nothing to do with jewelry. Each time I get these names, I'm copying and pasting them into my text editor, in my case Notepad++. Next up is Hostinger, and theirs only gives us 10 names at a time, but they aren't terrible names. Next up after that is Forbes. Theirs is about on par with Hostinger, nothing spectacular but nothing terrible either. Next up is Hootsuite, and their forum is asking more questions, which gets me excited, but it only gives me 3 ideas, and to get more, I have to give them my email address. I'll pass. Next up is Wix, which actually gives me some great keywords, whole words which I won't be able to get as a domain name, but those could be great for something else I'm going to show you. Next, we have Namify. It gives some interesting brand names. And after Namify is Namelix. Weird name, I know, but I think it gives the best list so far. Now I'm going to jump over to ChatGPT and ask it for some suggestions. It first gives me 20, and I ask it for 50 more. I could keep asking it for more and more, and it will keep giving them to me. I then ask it to give me 50 keywords associated with a diamond brand, such as forever, eternal, infinity, etc. It comes back with a list, and I ask it for 50 more keywords associated with love, and it gives me those. I take all of those and paste them into my text editor. You can see I have lots of names with spaces, ampersands, numbers, and so on, which I need to get rid of before I do a domain search on them. I am using Control-H to do a find and replace on various things such as spaces, phrases such as domains available, and changing ampersands for the word and. Control-H works in Word, Excel, and most other applications. I also want to delete blank lines and duplicate lines, which you can do from the Edit and Line Operations menu in Notepad++. The reason I like text editors such as Edit Plus and Notepad++ is because they have a feature called regular expression, which software developers love. You don't need to understand how this works, but by typing an open bracket 0-9 close bracket plus in the find box and replacing that with a blank, it will get rid of all of the numbers for me. Next, I will replace the period and space with a blank, and now I have a clean list. So let's assume that you're a diamond engagement ring company. You can search on Afternic, Cedo, Squad Help, or Brand Bucket for a list of domains that are for sale. In many instances, you can make a lower offer, and I would recommend doing that to get a really great domain. I'm going to head over to Namecheap and click on their domain search and hit Beast Mode. You gotta love that name. I'm going to paste my list of names into the box that says enter up to 5,000 domains or keywords to get started. Next, I'm going to choose which extensions I'm interested in. Now, it's good to choose some extras in addition to .com, since most .coms won't be available. You have lots of options such as use domain hacks, drop last file, which actually makes brandables, and pluralize nouns. For now, we're just going to use the default settings. Go make you a cup of coffee. When you return, you'll have the list of what domains are available and how much they are. This will include domains that are available for registration and domains that are owned by others, but they are for sale, albeit at a much higher price than registration. That's not always a bad thing though, and I'll explain more on that later. Once you have this list, my suggestion is to export it so you can open it in Excel to make it easier to filter through. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. I jump back over to ChatGPT and I ask it to tell me the history of the diamond engagement ring with the idea of finding more keywords to use. It mentions that the reason the engagement ring is placed on what we call the ring finger is because Egyptians believed that there was a vein that they called the vena amoris, or vein of love, that ran from that finger straight to the heart. So I definitely want that keyword. You can of course do research like this on Wikipedia too, but the idea is to use all options available to you to get keywords that can help you come up with the idea for your brand. I run another search for these keywords on Namecheap and do another export. Now I'm going to do one more search creating compound words. In this example, I'm going to pick a few keywords: ring, engagement, and band. Then add some prefixes such as forever, lifetime, love, eternal, eternity, amor, amore, infinity, always, and timeless. 10 is the max. I could also add suffixes too if I thought they would sound good together. What this does is it searches for the keywords as well as the keywords with your prefixes and/or suffixes attached, giving you a better chance of finding a domain, especially a .com. Now I export these lists as well. Now I'm going to take my exported lists and open them in Excel. I copy the data from the other list and paste it into the first one so that I have all of these in one location. I then add filters to the list, and I add another column where I then ask ChatGPT how I can copy just the domain extension from the domain in column A and put it in column B with the intention of being able to filter on that. Now let's filter on only domains that are available, and let's only show domains that are less than $1,000. You can make this anything you want to fit your budget. Next, let's filter on .com only. We have some options. I highlight the one I like in green to help narrow them down. You've probably heard all of the good .coms are taken, but I think some of these are good. However, that statement is mostly true. The good news is out of probably 90% of all .coms that are taken, they are held by domain investors. Think of domain investors the same as real estate investors or stock investors. They own that piece of virtual property in the hopes of selling it for more than they paid and making a profit. If you don't mind paying more to get a really good, maybe even great domain name, you have several options. You can search on Afternic, Cedo, Squad Help, or Brand Bucket for a list of domains that are for sale. In many instances, you can make a lower offer, and I would recommend doing that to get a really great domain. Some of these domainers have sat on these domains for years, and they'll sell for less. If you have time on your hands, a potentially better place is both GoDaddy Auctions and Namejet, both of which are auction platforms that predominantly sell expired domain names where you can usually get a great domain for less money than on one of the other sites I mentioned. There are over 1,000 extensions available in addition to the original .com, .net, and .orgs. .com is still king, but there are some other decent options. You're seeing a lot of .ais now for artificial intelligence. All two-letter extensions are country codes, so that .ai is Anguilla, a Caribbean island near St. Martin. .co is a popular alternative to .com, which is Colombia, where I'm talking to you from now. I mentioned I own Merlix.com, which is a software company I've owned since 1994. It's a 6-letter domain. Now, I got that domain name in the 90s when domains were still widely available. However, I've only owned Bazillions.com since 2017, which I acquired from an expired GoDaddy auction for $511. In my opinion, that's a steal for a brandable such as that. I mentioned in the beginning of the video about SPI. SPI runs two communities, one called SPI Pro and the other is SPI Academy. SPI stands for Smart Passive Income and is ran by Pat Flynn, who, if you've seen his videos, has got to be one of the nicest guys on the planet. SPI Pro has mastermind groups, and SPI Academy has a lot of useful courses on topics such as email marketing, podcasting, and more. They have something called an All Access Pass, which gets you access to both communities. You can check it out by going to hq.bz/SPI, and I've included the URL in the description. I hope this video helps you in finding your brand. If this video was helpful, please click the like button, and I hope I can earn your click of a subscribe button since it costs you nothing and really helps out a small channel such as mine. I build startups, I create content that shows you how to build brands, market and grow them, and how to make money. I cover all things making money. I am a digital nomad splitting time between Colombia and Switzerland, and I also cover topics about that. I hope you join me on this endeavor. Let's go make bazillions.